Now we're moving on to the mobile category now, and I'm hoping Liam Corcoran is in the audience. He is sponsoring this section, and he's the director of EMA Research Now Mobile UK. Is he here? In which case, he would be sponsoring this section, and I'm delighted for him. We'll move straight on to the first presentation in this section from Norway, and the company is called Unacast. And I'd like you to welcome to the stage the CEO, who is Tomas Walle. Welcome, Tomas.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay. So I'm Tomas Walle. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Unacast from Oslo, Norway. And here's the fact. Because of the internet, physical interaction with product and distance has been completely irrelevant. So we now do a lot of online retargeting based on cookies and fingerprinting. But there's now a lot of physical sensors that are being installed in every brick-and-mortar store. And Unacast is that backend for proximity data. So what we do is that we enable retailer and brands to retarget their own customers based on proximity data. And many of you are probably very familiar with location data. It's great, it's easy, accessible. However, it has some contextual limitations. There's a new set of data out there now, proximity data, from beacons, from NFC, from Wi-Fi, and QR codes that has a much more granular detail level about a customer's behavior. Perfect.
Is that going? It's as well to make
1,
sure
2.
It sounds right for you.
It's working now? Good? Okay, perfect. So there are a lot of stores now installing sensors, beacons, NFC, which when they place it in a store, they can tell something about where a customer is. That he's spending 5 minutes in the shoe department, 15 minutes in the bed department. So this data has a lot of contextual texture to it. However, this data is not very easily available. Even though there are more than 50% of the top 100 retailers today working with beacons, for instance, in the US, and more than 60 million beacons expected to be deployed by 2018, this data isn't very easily accessible. All these companies deploying beacons, NFC now, and more than 500 globally, they collect data in 500 ways and use 500 different data structures. So there's a lot of proximity technology being installed. However, the data says a lot, but it can't be used in scale by retail and brands. So that's why Unacast comes into place, and that's why we have created and built Unacast Prox, which is the world's largest network of proximity data. So what we have done is that we created our own taxonomy, our own data structure, so that we are aligning and harmonizing the big proximity market. So we do this so that retail and brands can use the proximity data for online retargeting later. And we have partners all over the globe with more than 100,000 beacons in our network by the end of this year. So to give you an example of how this works, this is a case that's going live now in Norway. And it has a few parties. It has Kappa, which is the largest cinema chain. It has Schibsted, the biggest media player, and Coke. So the cinema chain, they have deployed beacons at the venue. So when this romantic couple visits the cinema, they receive the ticket, the movie review, and popcorn free of charge on entrance. Unacast then captures this information. So we know that these two went to the cinema on a Saturday. And Coke, on this side, they do a lot of pre-rolls in the cinema for a new Green Life bottle. And based on this information that we sit on, Coke can then go to Schibsted and say, we'd like to retarget the customers that visited the cinema yesterday. So they can do continued engagement from the physical domain over to the online domain. And based on the behavior that the customer do online, they can take that knowledge into action when the customer revisits the cinema later, giving them a free bottle of Coke. And why is this interesting for brands? Well, first of all, they can now start to reach completely new segments. They can reach people that are going to the cinema. Universal Picture is also joining in on this to retarget the ones that saw an action movie, like a very accurate, very detailed target group. But most importantly, they can do continued engagement. For the first time, you can use proximity data, which is granular, taking that knowledge from offline to online and back to offline. And why are we the team to do this now? Well, the team behind Unacast is also the team that set up the music streaming service Tidal, which was sold to JC a couple of weeks ago. And what we managed to do at the same time, and together with Daniel Ek in Spotify, is that we harmonized the whole music and record labels industry. So we harmonized them all to create a one-stop shop place for music. We're now doing the same for proximity, creating a one-stop shop place for proximity data so that media platforms and ad platforms can offer the retailer and brands to do retargeting based on proximity data. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Proximity Data Network. So can we have a couple of questions for Thomas? Thank you.
Yes.
How do you address the privacy concerns?
Yeah. Well, even before we started working on the product, we spent the year working with the European privacy regulators. So, and this is, it's easy to collect data online, but when you do it from offline behavior, you have to follow the local legislations. So we spent a year working with the Norwegian and the European privacy regulators, which are the strictest one, making sure that we can collect the data the right way, use the data the right way, and also utilize it. This all, of course, follows the opt-in mechanism. So customers using the app, they agree to receive push notifications and also share the data.
Good question.
This is a question, not a challenge. With 100,000 beacons, is that really the largest data source of proximity marketing data?
Yeah, like right now, as of today, there are 100,000 beacons out there. So we are in a very early phase of the proximity development. But as I mentioned, it will grow to 60 million beacons by 2018. And we believe that we have to start harmonizing the data set while the market matures. So yes, we are, as of now, the largest beacon network, or proximity network.
And what's been the response from retailers to your proposition?
Well, what they have challenges doing is that they like to retarget their own customers, right? And right now they shoot with a shotgun. So they try to retarget the segments, male, 18 to 25 years old, interested in fashion. Now we can also deliver 2 more data points. Visited my store, yes or no, spent more than 50 minutes in the shoe department. So they are very excited about this because now they can do continued engagement from the offline, from the store, into online domains at a very granular level.
I've got 2 seconds, so thank you very much indeed, Thomas.
Thank you.
Unacast.